AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Off and running, hour number 3 after further review here on a Wednesday. Musso in for Moscona. We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, proud sponsor of our Wednesday shows, yourgoodwood.com. Luke Foster, Paul O'Neill along for the ride, and we're happy to have you along for the ride as well. 5 o'clock, just getting in your car, punch the clock, heading home from work. We appreciate you making us a part of your commute, a part of your day. And we still have a jam-packed hour number 3 here to get to. Kylie McDaniel over at ESPN released his final top 250 ahead of the MLB Draft. Plenty of LSU signees, plenty of LSU flavor in terms of the current roster on there. Have some thoughts on that I want to get to. We'll get to that here in the next segment. We still have to get to Otter. Otter Locks is still to come here, obviously, on today's show as well. So locked and loaded and ready to go here as we polish off a Wednesday edition of AFR. The NFL Draft is months away. I get it. It's July 8th. The NFL Draft is in late April. We got a long way to go. We got an entire college football season, all of that. Understand completely. But boy, this caught my attention and it warrants a conversation. So, a week ago, Todd McShay on The McShay Show ranked his top 6 quarterbacks ahead of the 2027 NFL Draft. Number 1, Dante Moore from Oregon. 2, Lenore Sellers from South Carolina. 3, C.J. Carr from Notre Dame. 4, Arch Manning from Texas. 5, Julian Sayin from Ohio State. And number 6 was Brendan Sorsby. No Sam Leavitt. Which, quite honestly, I didn't think anything of in the moment. I clicked on it. I read it. So I'm like, well, maybe there's a chance. He wasn't on it. I said, all right, I can get behind that. Makes sense. But because I felt that way, I was all the more surprised when I heard Todd McShay back on the McShay Show say this about Sam Leavitt.
I think Sam Leavitt has a chance to be a top 5 pick. I envision a young man who has everything skills-wise, but what he's missing is scheduling. But he's going to spend a year, maybe 2, with Lane Kiffin. Chambliss wasn't great at it when he got there. And look at Chambliss when he got to the end of the season. Look at Jackson Dart, where he was early in his career. He was a runner. He was a sandlot guy a lot. If Lane can work his magic now that we have a healthy Sam Leavitt in Baton Rouge for the next couple months getting ready for the season, his stock is at a price that I would empty my bank account on.
I understand you could take anything and everything that draft analysts and draft experts say with a grain of salt. I mean, you should honestly do that really with just about anybody. I mean, it's an opinion. But Todd McShay's been doing it a long, long time. Todd McShay has seen a lot of elite talent and evaluated a lot of elite talent. And I mean, that's his specialty is NFL draft. So that carries weight when he says that about Sam Leavitt. Now, it is important to note, and he kind of even mentioned this in that cut, he never said he was going to be a top 5 pick in this spring's draft. You heard him in there say he's going to spend a year, maybe even 2, with Lane Kiffin. And I think that's something that is obvious. Well, I know that's something that's obviously been, conveyed to Sam Leavitt that, man, this could be a 2-year thing for you. Come here, year 1, get your feet wet. Year 2, when you're here, you really explode onto the scene. And if that's the case, you just heard Todd McShay say, I mean, his stock is never going to be higher than it will be. The interesting part there with the interesting part with McShay, what he mentioned about Leavitt in structure and schedule, like on schedule, that is the refrain you hear from anyone who does a film study or puts out, a projection or a profile on Sam Leavitt is that's the area he has to get better. And we talked about this last week when Clark Brooks over at On3 released he was going through his 2026 quarterback impact study, and it came to Sam Leavitt. And Sam Leavitt, by the way, was his QB number 2 in that whole study. And he went through all the things that Leavitt did great. Play action, his ability to scramble, make plays, out of structure, make plays off schedule, all those things. And then he got into things that McShay alluded to there, the things that McShay alluded to there, the struggles maybe in structure a little bit. To give you some numbers there, he wasn't nearly as potent as he was as a freshman at Arizona State a year ago. Now, yes, he definitely dealt with injuries. The interesting thing is, one of Leavitt's greatest strength is his accuracy, and that remained in structure. But the interceptables went up, and his success rate per Clark Brooks, when he went through all the Power 4 quarterbacks, all Power 4 starting quarterbacks, Leavitt's success rate in structure landed on the bad side of the impact average for the second straight season. So, that is where he needs to improve. You heard Todd McShay say it, though. Trinidad Chambliss wasn't great at that when he got to Ole Miss. By the end of the year, he was awesome, leading them on a deep playoff run. Looks to be one of, if not the best returning quarterback in the SEC this year, which puts him up there with Dante Moore when it comes to being in the top returning quarterback in the nation in that sense. Jackson Dart, that is a great comp. Dart was true dual threat running guy, man. Early in his time at USC, early in his time at Ole Miss, and by the end of it, he's a first-round draft pick, starting quarterback for the New York Giants now. We've seen it very recently here where quarterbacks have been able to develop in the structure of Lane Kiffin's offense and improve that part of the game. And I will just say what we've talked about here the last couple of times we've mentioned Sam Leavitt. Man, having him for 2 years, that's part of the plan. That's great. I love that. And if that does come to fruition, you have a great chance to win a national championship, especially if Sam Leavitt reaches what Todd McShay's talking about, top 5 pick level. Leavitt reaches top 5 pick. You have him potentially for 2 full seasons. You have an awesome chance to win a national championship while he is at LSU. I don't really think that's debatable. Quarterback drives so much, I don't really think that's debatable. But the other aspect of it is, take the Trinidad Chambliss case, for example. He wasn't great at it early in his time at Ole Miss, but as the season went on, he got better. And I'll say it again. I think when you look at Sam Leavitt in his first year at LSU, given he missed spring practice, the majority of it, is now fully cleared and ready to go, and he'll have a full fall camp, and you have tough games out the stretch. Clemson, at Ole Miss, Texas A&M. I mean, all 3 of those games are 3 of your first 4 in September. You probably see them really lean on what he does exceptionally well, like the play action, like being able to create off schedule, his accuracy, things of that nature. And you bring him along in the structure and improve him in the pocket. And hopefully by the end of the season, it looks like Trinidad Chambliss did a year ago. And then you go into the next year with him. Because if it does start a little slow, like it has for LSU quarterbacks, transfer quarterbacks, I mean, Joe Burrow started slow in 2018, came on late in that year, became what he did. Jaden Daniels in 2022 started slow in that season, came on at the end, became what he became. Sam Leavitt could very well follow that path. And you heard Todd McShay say it there. If he does, he thinks he's going to be a top 5 pick. He's got everything you want in a quarterback. He just needs to get better in the structure of the offense. But this could set up really, really well for LSU, provided, again, also, he stays healthy. And if you do see that trajectory where it's a slower start and then he's hitting on all cylinders at the end, that may not be enough to pry him away in the draft. Maybe it is. Plans change. Like, we could sit here and say the plan was 2 years with Sam Leavitt. Plans change. Opportunities present themselves. But if you get him for 2 full seasons and he elevates to what Todd McShay is saying he thinks he can, top 5 pick, you have a great opportunity to win a national championship behind Sam Leavitt. Guy's got playoff experience. Like, that's a real opportunity for you, provided it all comes to fruition. That's some high praise, though. High praise from Todd McShay, who's evaluated a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of elite NFL draft talent in his day. I'm fired up to see how it plays out, man. Like, that's a big getting Sam Leavitt, and I'm fired up to see how that one's going to play out for LSU as we go through the 2026 season and beyond. All right, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll continue here on a Wednesday edition of AFR. The Major League Baseball Draft gets underway Saturday. So the countdown is officially on, and you're seeing final draft rankings, final mock drafts. We'll look at Kylie McDaniels when we return here on AFR.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
They did it again.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over. And you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
Major League Baseball Draft gets underway Saturday afternoon, 2-day event. So on Saturday, rounds 1 through 4 will take place to kick off All-Star Weekend there for Major League Baseball. Sunday, you'll see rounds 5 through 20. Of course, as always, we keep an eye on the top 10 rounds of the draft. That's where teams' bonus pools are are spent, and the slot value is put on those picks. And it's one of those things we talk about every year. If you see a player come off the board in the top 10 rounds, they've agreed to sign with that team for a number, and they're gone. Like they're going to the major leagues. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. So you have that split over 2 days here, rounds 1 through 4 on Saturday, 5 through 20 on Sunday. Now, Kylie McDaniel, from ESPN, MLB Draft analyst, released his final draft rankings here on Wednesday morning. His top 250. It's important to note that this is not a mock draft. This is his big board. This is him just ranking the top 250 prospects for the Major League Baseball draft. And there is a heavy LSU flavor. Let's start with the signees because I imagine that's really what everybody wants to hear about. And I'll give you a few notes on current players at the back end of this segment. 10 LSU signees made Kylie McDaniel's final top 250 draft ranking. Half of them were in the top 100. The guys in the top 100, left-handed pitcher Logan Schmidt, who you can pretty much safely assume is going to sign professionally. I know there's all those reports out there about him having a big number and signability and whatnot. Okay, that's fine. He's a lefty that throws 97. Those don't come around all the time, and those guys normally don't make it to campus, even with a big number. There's probably going to be an MLB team that's going to get close to that, and he'll sign. Jensen Hirschkorn, a righty, was also one of those 5. Dominic Santorelli was one of those 5 in the top 100. Malachi Washington was in the top 100. And Lucas Naraki was in the top 100. The other 5 that rounded it out, Will Adams, first baseman, Colton Brady, who's a right-handed pitcher, Colby Stringer, who's a right-handed pitcher, Anthony Murphy, an outfielder, and then Cooper Sides rounded out the LSU signees in there, another right-handed pitcher with big stuff. I have thoughts on but on multiple of these guys that I do want to get to. But first, as a reference, Kylie McDaniel was on AFR. He was on this show back at the beginning of June. Okay, this was June 1st. It's over a month ago, and a lot of things can change. That's why I'm saying we'll use this as a reference. But back on June 1st, when Kylie McDaniel was on this show, he said this about the LSU signees that he would not project to make it to campus.
I'm looking at sort of my rankings, the order of the LSU commits. I think the first 3 to 5 are either no's or likely no's to get to campus. That would be Schmidt, Jensen Hirschkorn out of California, right-handed pitcher, Malachi Washington, center fielder out of the Atlanta area, Will Adams, first baseman out of Hoover High School in Alabama, and then Dominic Santorelli, left field first base out of Wisconsin. Those guys all have, I'd say, pretty significant 7-figure interest. You assume all of them will get offered 7 figures. Not a lot of guys. I'd say a handful, maybe even single digits, turn down 1.5 or more in the draft. I would be surprised if more than one of them got to campus. I think if you get one, you're doing a good job out of that group because I think they're all going to get offered, I'd say 1.5 or north, maybe 1.3 or north.
And I'm sure those numbers have grown. And again, I say use that as a reference because, well, Kylie McDaniel's rankings have changed since then. I mean, he gave you the top 5 that he did in that, he's talking about those guys not getting to campus. Lucas Naraki wasn't included in that. Now Lucas Naraki is one of his top 5 LSU prospects, and Will Adams bumped down to 6. So what you're looking at is fluctuation there. And I would tell you, I would expect LSU to probably lose 6 to 8 guys out of this signing class to the Major League Baseball draft. You compare that to a year ago, LSU lost 8, which, by the way, is by far the most in the Jay Johnson era. They got gutted a year ago by the MLB Draft. In Jay's 3 other full recruiting, like his full seasons, Class 22, Class 23, Class 24, they lost a combined 10 players to the Major League Baseball Draft out of high school. They lost 8 a year ago, and I think you're going to see a similar number here this season. The difference is you have 23 guys in this signing class, and it is so deep, top to bottom. But let's talk about a few. We talked about Logan Schmidt, Jensen Hirschkorn. You heard Kylie say this guy's probably not going to get there. It's a 6'7" righty who throws 97, sits mid-90s. The projectability in the frame isn't necessarily there, but the projectability in the stuff is. Could he make it outside chance? Sure, I would put that at a very outside chance. That feels like one of those righties that Major League Baseball is going to sink their teeth into and say, okay, the little bit of development he needs with his secondary stuff, we can give him here and fast track him to Major League Baseball. Malachi Washington, that was another one that Kylie mentioned in that cut back in the beginning of June. Malachi Washington, that one kind of feels like that ship has sailed. He's going to get a really good offer, and it just feels like that's a guy who's ready to go start his career. We'll see. I mean, I guess there's a chance you cannot get your number, but that's just not one that I would hold my breath on. If something changes and you get him, great. That's awesome. He is a really, really good outfielder that could have an absolutely incredibly bright future at LSU. Will Adams, two-way guy. Kylie mentioned him there as a first baseman, but he's a pretty good left-handed pitcher as well, up into the low 90s. We'll see there as well. Again, that's over a month ago, but you've heard a lot of players, a lot of people talk about Will Adams, potentially signing that pro contract. Then there's a couple more. Dominic Santorelli lit up the MLB Combine. And I'm not going to tell you the ship has sailed on him coming to LSU, because I don't believe that it has. But he's going to have to turn down a lot of money. Like he's going to have to turn down a lot of money in order to do that. And until you're presented with that formal offer, you can't really make that decision. If you get Dominic Santorelli to campus, that guy is an immediate impact difference maker. Like he's going to get at bats. I mean, that's Jared Jones coming to school in a sense, man. Like it just is that big power hitter. I mean, Jones got over 100 bats as a freshman and hit 14 homers. Like it is that real of power from a guy like Dominic Santorelli. He could even compete to be your starting first baseman. Like if you get him here, he's an immediate difference maker for you, most likely. A guy he led the MLB Combine in exit velocity. Like he's just raw power. And it could happen for you. It could. But he's going to have to turn down a lot of money in order to make that decision to come to campus. And for me personally, my opinion, I can't bet on that happening. So my opinion, I probably expect him to sign. Colton Brady is a complete wild card because I've seen him in mock drafts. I've seen him around, like 200 to 210 rank for MLB Pipeline. Kylie McDaniel has him at number 133. That guy would be an awesome addition if you can get him. And I think with him being such a wild card, that kind of goes both ways. But I think there's a chance you get him, obviously, to school. And then the other two that I wanted to touch on, the other three that I wanted to touch on here real quick, because I think Anthony Murphy's going to sign professionally. Colby Stringer, who we've talked about plenty, back when he committed midseason to LSU and they won a big battle. I think LSU still feels pretty good about getting him here. But through the playoff run and whatnot, there were scouts that were able to really get down there in Mississippi and see him a little bit more. That was the thing. I mean, when he committed, it was like, okay, LSU's going to get this guy because he was such a late riser and there just wasn't enough time to build a draft profile. And I'm not saying that there all of a sudden was more time. I still think it's a pretty light profile on him. It's definitely heavier than it was when he committed to LSU midseason. But we talked about this with Ethan Fry a year ago. We talked about this with Stephen Milan before he pulled his name out of the draft. All it takes is one team. It takes one team to fall in love with the guy and throw big money at him, and you get there. I mean, he's sitting there rank a top 150 prospect, even as a late riser, as a late bloomer. I still think they feel pretty good about that one, though. With Colby Stringer, that'd be a huge get. Naraki, I'm just going to be really bummed if LSU loses Lucas Naraki to the MLB draft. I really am, because that's an insane two-way threat. And from the mound, left-handed, I mean, he's up to 95. Like, he's really good. And you might say, well, man, 95 left side, why would he even make it to campus? Well, he's 5'11". Like, he's 5'10", 5'11", and scouts very easily could have said, all right, you've done great at Aledo High School in Texas. Let's go see you do it for 3 years in the SEC, and then we'll have another conversation. But with the performance he put forth at the MLB Combine, specifically on the offensive side, because, again, he's a real two-way threat, specifically on the offensive side, he has shot up draft boards. And that's a guy that LSU invested plenty in education and whatnot, showing him why college is the best path. And you still could get him. Like, there are still teams out there that are going to go, yeah, it's great showing at the Combine. He throws 95. Yeah, but he's 5'10", 5'11". Like, there are still teams that are going to ding him for that, even though the stuff and the ability is there at a major league level. And maybe that's what you need to end up getting him here. But that one's going to sting if you do. Because, man, I think a couple months ago, they would have felt great about that. And now he's just shot up draft boards, and it's not nearly as certain. And that's a bummer. And then Cooper Sides is the other one to really keep an eye on. I mean, Cooper Sides, outside of Jensen Hirschhorn, is LSU's highest-ranked right-handed pitcher in this class per perfect game. And, I mean, that's a mid-90s fastball, really good breaking stuff, advanced feel already, all of those things with Cooper Sides. And if you could get him, and I think you have a shot, but that one might be a little bit more 50-50. Maybe like a more of a coin flip toss-up type deal. But if you can get him, that's a guy who can come in and immediately contribute in your bullpen. That's really the thing I look at with this class, is there's a lot of freshmen in it that if you get here on the mound, they are immediate impact guys, like an Iraqi. He could impact you on both sides potentially, like Colby Stringer, like Colton Brady, like Cooper Sides. Like, you have that type of freshman class where, I mean, it could completely turn your pitching staff, around in a sense from a bullpen perspective, and maybe some of them come in and compete and earn a starting spot. I mean, we've seen freshmen break into the rotation before, at LSU. So that's your signees. Just some brief thoughts there. We will have Joe Doyle on the show from Overslot tomorrow to go through a full draft preview for us. Joe will join the show. Joe's great. We have him on all the time. He does great work. Overslot, you should check it out as well. I mean, Joe is very, very well connected. Current LSU players in this will be brief. Derek Curiel was the 10th overall player, which awesome for Derek, man. That's great. And, as we say, this isn't a mock draft, but actually what you're seeing is him mocked to the Rockies at 10. Like, that is the rumored selection right now for the Rockies. There's a lot of smoke around Derek Curiel in Colorado. And if he ends up a top 10 pick, man, that is awesome for him, because that's a guy who they wanted to see more power. He bet on himself, came to LSU, and it's going to work out to where he's a top 10 pick. That's fantastic. Jake Brown was at number 64. I think we all know Jake Brown's going to head to Major League Baseball. You've rebuilt your outfield. Like, you wouldn't have done that if you expected Curiel or Brown back in any capacity. So those two guys are both going to be day one picks. That's awesome. And then the other player that made the top 250 was Devin Sheeran. And, we talked about this a little bit with Jason Ratcliffe on the show yesterday. It's just been the feeling kind of around Sheeran. He's going to be one of the top college relievers taken in this draft. He's up to 98, 99 from a crossfire delivery with an absolutely wipeout slider. Those guys just kind of don't grow on trees. He had a lot of good moments for LSU, some bad this year, but really ended his season on a high note there in the SEC tournament. And, it's kind of just always been pretty expected that he moves on and signs. So you'll probably be without those guys, but you wish them best of luck. And, again, Curiel, Brown, both being day one picks, most likely. That's awesome. That's all. Those guys are great Tigers, part of a lot of great winning. So we'll have plenty more. As I said, Joe Doyle will be with us tomorrow for a full breakdown of LSU in the MLB Draft. Gets underway Saturday, and when Matt's back here on Monday, we'll obviously be recapping and breaking down another eventful 2 days for LSU around MLB All-Star Weekend. The Major League Baseball Draft is one of the most frustrating and entertaining things to watch each year, but it never disappoints, man. You always teams always find money, and there's always surprises. So, like with any draft, but we'll keep you updated, obviously, on that as we move through the week, and obviously when Matt's back here on Monday. All right, we're gonna grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Went a little long there, but thought it was worth it. We'll come back on the other side and continue here a Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness.
After further review.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. You want an unbelievable customer service experience, you want Darren James. It's part of his core values for Darren and his team. Darren tells me all the time, as long as I've known Darren, he said, my goal one day is to put myself out of business. I want to create such a turnkey, seamless, easy process for people to be able to buy and sell homes that they don't even need me anymore. Well, as Darren continues on that path in the meantime, he's going to help you sell your home. So if you need to sell your home, you want a realtor that quite literally sells more homes than anyone, you want Darren James. Last year, Wall Street Journal is listed the top 1% of realtors in America, Darren James. So need to sell your home fast for the most amount of money, you need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
At 180 Pros, you have an IT partner.
Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
All right, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. We got to get to Otter, but I did find this interesting. So, obviously, the FIFA World Cup is going on, and the United States made a run to the round of 16 in the knockout, and I mean ratings followed. Like there were ratings that rivaled the NFL playoffs in these knockout round games. For the World Cup in the US. And that's interesting to me as well. And I mean, we can talk about that a little bit, but what I really wanted to kind of point out is after the World Cup finishes, you'll wait until 2030, obviously for the next World Cup. And in the meantime, FIFA will negotiate a new media rights deal for the United States rights. And there are reports that the value of that media rights deal could quadruple. You know what Fox pays for the World Cup right now? Biggest sporting event in the world, across the globe, like internationally, the World Cup. Fox is paying $484 million for that. And have brought in ratings that have rivaled the NFL postseason. Now, granted, yes, the United States is out now, so those are like that's going to that's going to go away. But to only pay $484 million for that is pretty crazy. Now, for what it's worth, the U.S.'s first knockout game against Bosnia averaged more than 26 million viewers. That's, I think, the NFL postseason, the divisional round a year ago. See if I can find this number again. It was a little over 30. It was a little over 30 million. And then when you go to the Belgium game, combined without the Nielsen ratings, this is from Ad Impact. This is an estimate before the Nielsen ratings come in. The English and Spanish audience broadcast combined 47.9 million. Now, yes, those numbers are going to go down because the United States is out. But again, quadruple. Netflix, YouTube, and Disney. Those are the three bidding right now, are in this bidding war, and they're willing to pay up to $2 billion for the rights to the 2030 World Cup. That is quadrupling, which is, it's insane. And I'm intrigued by this, and here's why. Those ratings this year were great. The World Cup was also here. You know where the World Cup is in 2030? The primary countries are going to be Spain. Hold on, I have to find it again. Forgive me. Spain, Morocco, Portugal. That ain't the Eastern, Central, and Pacific time zones. We're not going to be going home watching Team USA at 7. So that's going to dip the ratings here as well in this next World Cup. Just not everybody's going to stay up and watch these things live. So that's intriguing to me as they're going through this. And also, there's just no guarantee that, you make that run again to the round of 16. Maybe you do. Maybe make a deeper run. Who knows? But $2 billion. I wonder if that's not an overcorrection. I'm sure it's not. They have all their data and they're looking at this. But I found that interesting. If you're wondering, because I was, how that compares to media rights deals for the NFL, considering, these games were getting playoff ratings for the NFL. The NFL's media rights deals across all their networks is more than $110 billion. The NBA, $77 billion. So ways to go to catch up to that. But still, from $484 million to potentially $2 billion for your media rights, FIFA's going to love that. That's a great success having the World Cup here because you've capitalized off of that when the ratings are not going to be anywhere close to what they were when you go to those time zones in Spain, Morocco, and Portugal. But interesting nonetheless. At least I thought so. All right, we'll grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Close out hour number 3. Close out the Wednesday edition of AFR with Otter Locks. That's next here on AFR.
AFR.
You ever just get super frustrated at super slow internet? Oh, we've all been there, man. The little spinning wheel, slamming your keyboard or your mouse, pounding the desk because it's so frustrating. Your internet's so slow. Storm comes, knocks the power out, knocks the internet out, knocks the cable out. You're so frustrated. Maybe that's just me because I get kind of angry about things. But it's annoying. Nobody wants that to happen. Rev can help. They're local and 5 gigs, lightning fast speeds, and backed by an all-fiber network. Fiber. It's buried under the ground. You don't have to worry about a storm coming, knocking the power lines down. Let's Rev. Listen, more than 70,000 Louisiana homeowners and business owners trust Rev. You should as well. REV. 90 years of local experience. Let'sRev.com. Let's for less money. And man, my friends over at Insurance Network of Louisiana are crushing it for Louisianians on their auto insurance right now. Listen, if you have not had anyone shop for your auto insurance lately, you got to call Insurance Network of Louisiana. My goodness. They got some top-rated companies, Geico, Progressive. They're doing awesome work right now. This was an amazing story that I heard. They wrote one last week, saved the client $2,911 annually. They had a high auto rate with State Farm. They smashed it with Geico. They had another one save $1,476 annually with Progressive. They had Allstate and switched. Y'all, I tell you all the time, if you're just auto-renewing your insurance, man, you're probably overpaying and you're underinsured. Let Insurance Network of Louisiana help. lainsurance.net.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, we're about to punch the clock here on a Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. But before we do that, we got to get our betting fix. Where's the action at tonight? It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
All right, we got another 6-pack of picks tonight in Major League Baseball from the Otter. Otter, how's it going? Otter, are you there? Otter? Turn him up, Luke. Turn him up a little bit, please. All right, there we go. I got you now, Otter. I got you now.
Okay.
Six-pack of picks, Major League Baseball.
All right, let's get to it. Milwaukee's been good to us. 5-game set at St. Louis NL Central matchup. They won all 3, and then they busted out. After winning a couple of close games, one-run games, they won about 8 last night. We're good on them again. Pitching matchup is favorable to the Brewers. Brewers minus, they've been climbing up. It's minus 150 earlier. Tampa Bay was good to us last night as well. That got 2 winners last night. And another favorable pitching matchup. McClanahan for Tampa Bay has been lights out. Garrett Cole's been kind of iffy. After his first 2 starts back off the IL, he was really good, but it's kind of flattened out a little bit. Tampa Bay at home, where it was so tough. Minus 110, soft price there. Detroit is a team that's kind of creeping back a little bit in that American League Central. Still 6.5 games back, but this pitcher that's going for them tonight has been on fire against the Oakland A's at home. Springs has had his rough go as of late. Detroit minus 137. Seattle, we lost on them last night. We're back on them tonight. And their pitcher that's going tonight, Kirby, has been one of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball the last 5 starts or so. We won with them last week. We'll be on them again tonight. Even though we lost last night, even tempted to take a little money line with Seattle against the Marlins. We lost that one extra innings last night. White Sox against the Red Sox. White Sox got their ace pitcher going tonight. Minus 112 at home against the improving Red Sox. You know that, Musso. But
easy.
White Sox, they are improving. They're playing better baseball. So,
they do this every year right before the All-Star break, Otter. Easy.
Okay, well, they're playing better, as I said. But White Sox are really tough at home as well. They've been one of the real stories in Major League Baseball this year. We've been riding them a lot because they're still catching up to their prices with the market and also the odds makers. White Sox minus 112. Then a money line, I'm sorry, not a money line parlay, but a over. The Dodgers lost last night. Look for them to break out the bats tonight. Colorado's going against the Sasaki, really got smacked around last week as well. So 2 really suspect pitchers. We need to get, until Sasaki turns this thing around, we're going to go over against him. Look at the Dodger bats to come alive after a loss last night. First one in a long time against Colorado. They won 22 of their last 24 against Colorado at home. Lost 4-3 last night. Taking the Dodgers, Rockies over 10.
All right, Otter, there's a couple of these that are in progress that have moved I want to ask you about. Otter, you got me?
Yeah, I'm with
you. The Rays are at minus 128 now. Do you like that price still? They're in action?
Yes, I'm good with that.
And then the Mariners are now $1.29. I'm assuming you're still good with that?
Yes.
All right, I'm not going to ask you about the Detroit Tigers who are minus 236. I already know you're not good with that.
Oh, we had a good start there, huh?
Yeah, it's
did we get a run yet?
Not a run yet, but it's scoreless. But I'm assuming they have runners all over the base paths in that one. Let's see. I can get a quick. Yeah, they have a runner at second and 1 out in that. So
okay, all right.
If they don't score, maybe if they don't score, maybe come back and look at it. Where are y'all tomorrow, Otter?
Original walk-ons on Burbank, just off of Nicholson.
All right, y'all get by and see Hanny and Out live at lunch, 11 to 1 over there at the OG walk-on. You can listen to it, of course, on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Otter, we appreciate it as always, man. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, good luck, Moose.
Good luck to you as well. There are your Otter locks here on this Wednesday edition of AFR Brain Fart. Thought we were on Thursday there for a moment. Got ahead of myself. We are not. It is Wednesday. And what a great Wednesday it was. Before we get out of here, Matt, a word about Arco?
Love telling you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. That's Arco Power Systems. We talk about generators a lot in Louisiana, especially all along the Gulf Coast, where we're sort of in this storm belt right here in the Gulf Coast. Well, of course, a lot of people have home standby generators. When we talk about Arco Power Systems, these are not home standby generators. This is industrial generator power. This is for your business. I mean, just think about it. When the power goes out, be it a hurricane, an ice storm, snow like we had last year, power goes out. What do you do with your business? Well, being offline is not an option. That's why you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. Just look at all the locations. Baton Rouge, Bossier, Harvey, Lake Charles, Mandeville, Mobile, LaPorte, Texas, San Antonio, Little Rock, Houston, Dallas. They're everywhere. So if you're a business and you need standby power for your business, you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com.
All right, that's just about going to do it here for us. Great show, man. Thank you to Dalton Wasserman for hopping on. Thank you to Bino Waters for hopping on. Really enjoyed that conversation. If you missed anything, you can catch it on demand. AFR On Demand, brought to you by Brett Goff. Just search after further review, AFR LSU, AFR Saints, all that on YouTube. Be back here again, 3 o'clock tomorrow for a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales and Trent Davis and our whole staff. And we appreciate everyone so much who's giving us the opportunity. Our commercial roofing manager, Matt Pearson, sent us all a text that we were just awarded a large commercial roofing job today, and they heard us talking about it. And yes, of course, at your home, any roof repair, replacement, we love to help you out. We can install gutters for you. We do soft wash, do all of it. But I want to remind you that we are a commercial roofing company as well. So if your commercial building needs a new roof or repair, you have any issues whatsoever, we have the best guy. We went and scoured the world and found Matt Pearson in Florida, and we brought him to Baton Rouge. I'm convinced there's not a soul alive that knows more about commercial roofing than Matt Pearson. So if your commercial building is having any roof issues, roof repair, replacement, or you just need options, trust me, have a conversation with Matt Pearson. We'd love to help you out. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com.